What's up, guys? Today we're going to be unboxing the Galaxy S24 Ultra. So I went ahead and I got this one from Best Buy because I think they had the best deal. I didn't really like Samsung's trade-in deals. The trade-in deals. With Best Buy you got $150. And that's better than Samsung's whatever they were selling, the Galaxy Watch or Buds, which I already have. So alright, let's go ahead and get into this. And as always, guys, every year I'm going to compare this to all of my older Samsung flagships. So I know you guys really want to see that. Alright, let's get this open here. It's the new titanium design, and immediately I could tell that this is definitely a little bit lighter feeling, which is really nice. So it's not as heavy. It still has a little bit of weight to it, but not as heavy. But look at that design here. And the phone is definitely a lot more boxed and squared off now, especially like right here where it used to have a little kind of curve to it. It's extremely boxy now, but it still has that kind of cut into the palm type of feeling here. But as always with Samsung, you don't really get much in the box these days. This is just going to be your SIM ejection tool and your Type-C to Type-C. Alright, we are all set up here, guys, and just a side note here, this is a really beautiful phone. Like, I really love this color. This is the gray color, as you can see. Now I'm really curious to see how the titanium is going to hold up. Is it going to scratch over time? Probably. This is a phone that I would probably put a case in because I got a feeling that this is going to scratch up really easily. But yeah, of course IP68 dust and water resistant. Of course you got your built-in S Pen, which is also should be great as well too. And one of the first things that stood out to me is Samsung has went completely flat display here. Looks pretty good. The screen to bezel ratio is pretty crazy on here. It's got very slim bezels, and this thing gets extremely bright. That's sort of like the new thing with the display. Unfortunately, it's like really dark outside, so I can't get it to hit max brightness, even if you turn extra brightness on. So I'm pretty sure this will go into effect when you're actually in direct sunlight. But the display is beautiful as always, and I've been seeing a lot of things online about the display looking washed out or something like that. So far for me, it looks absolutely normal. There's no way you'd be able to tell, and this is me coming from the S23 Ultra as well. So if you're thinking about not picking the phone up and you saw something like that, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it because it looks normal. It looks like a normal Samsung display. So I wouldn't worry about the display looking washed. I would have to put the two side by side. But like I said, even if it is, or there's something up, it can be fixed with a software update probably, or it's just not even really that noticeable, right? But of course the display on here, it's a 1440p display, LTPO AMOLED display, 120 Hertz, 2600 nits peak brightness, guys, and 505 for the PPI. They do have the new Gorilla Glass armor on here. Honestly, it's probably a little bit tougher, but to me, all these phone screens, they always scratch up. Honestly, but beautiful display. Samsung went flat here, like I said, which honestly I did like the curved look. I think it looks to me a more premium, but the flat display is going to be pretty good for putting screen protectors on and also watching content. You don't have that kind of curve, a weird kind of look. Alright, guys, you guys can see I have the Geekbench scores pulled up here. We're getting some crazy Geekbench scores. Look at the multi-core score here. Absolutely nice. Not a huge bump up from the S23 Ultra, but I'm really curious to see how battery performs here. Heat and stuff like that. The S23 really wasn't heating up and overheating or anything like that. And we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, of course, 256 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM on the base model. This one is the 512 gigabyte and 12 gigs of RAM. And then you can see a nice bump up when it comes to the multi-core score, as you can see. So gonna be a fast phone. Of course, you can do a lot of gaming. Just hop into PUBG real quick, and of course we're gonna do really good with gaming. A lot of people might like the gaming experience simply because of the flat display. You might like that a little bit more. But if you're coming from an S23 You know, it's not gonna be a big difference. Honestly, if you're coming from like a Note 20 Ultra, it's not gonna be really that much different. But we do have extreme HDR on here. It's coming soon. That'll be cool. But gaming performance is going to be great. I think the biggest difference here with gaming is going to be, if you're coming from an old flagship, is if you game like a lot, this phone is going to do way better on battery life than an old flagship if you're gaming a lot. So I think that's the only plus. But as far as like the settings and just being able to play games, it's virtually going to play the same. Alright, so next I want to talk about some of the AI features. I just want to touch on some of the stuff that I thought was cool, give you guys my first impression. Might make a separate video about this because that's kind of like the big thing here. But these new Generate AI wallpapers are pretty cool. I think it's a little bit limiting, but let's see. Like I honestly would like to like put my own, like type my own stuff in here basically. But this is pretty interesting. You can kind of generate your own kind of thing. Ice, bubbles. See, it's like presetting for me. So I think if they open this up to make it a little bit more creative, but so far I get it like this is kind of like new. But this is pretty cool to get a wallpaper. I still think picking your own wallpaper is going to be better for the most part. But that's pretty cool. There's also now, well, Google has pretty much had this, but there's also now this circle to search thing as well, which is kind of handy for the stylus as well. So let's just go and just find something. Let's just type or hold this. And then it'll pull up the actual wallpaper. So I wonder if this works in a video where, so you guys know how I having wallpapers. So let's see if this works. Like, I wonder if it'll find the wallpaper in my video that I have. All right, so I got it right here, and let's see if it'll find it. Almost. It brought phone cases, which is interesting. It did find it, but it only got the phone case. Let's see. Try it again. Oh wow, it did actually found it. Oh, that's crazy. That's pretty impressive, guys. I mean, I know the tech has been here, but that's pretty impressive how I found this. That's actually nuts. So the days are gone of people gatekeeping wallpapers. Alright, so one of the next, I think the most useful AI thing that a lot of people are going to use is probably the editor here. You see you have this new AI button to generate, and this will probably come to the older Galaxy devices as well, and hopefully Samsung won't charge for this in the future. But you can see it looks like it's taking a little bit of time, but as you can see, it did a pretty decent job, and we got some kind of weird kind of texture right there. But if I go ahead and press done, you can see pretty cool. It's probably a little rough around the edges, but definitely, you know, you can play around with that. A lot of new AI features here. Like I said, I might have to make a separate video about this because it's so much. But when you go to advanced features, advanced intelligence is what they're calling it, there's a lot of stuff to do with the keyboard, live translation. Samsung Notes actually has a lot of cool stuff. The voice recorder, Samsung Internet will basically summarize web pages as well, and then, you know, the images and stuff like that. And you also get real-time translations. Like I said, Google's been doing a lot of this stuff, but it's good that Samsung is now, you know, on board with this stuff. Let's check out these stereo speakers, see if we got any improvement. Honestly, it pretty much sounds like the S23 Ultra. It doesn't really sound that much different. which is fine because the speakers on there are pretty good as well, but it sounds full, really nice and balanced as well, so that's really sweet. Alright, so with the cameras here, there's not too much different going on with the cameras here besides this new 5x lens on here, which I think Samsung did this for the portrait shots, because I think they realize a lot of people take portrait shots or gonna take portrait shots with the 5x. So I think that's something that they consider. Now, from what I've seen, it does reduce the quality of the the 100x zoom by a little bit, but I went out there, I took some photos and went 100x and it looked fine to me. So even if it does, it's not significant, and I think more people will actually use the 5x zoom. So we got the 200 megapixel standard camera on here as well, so you can get some crispy shots. It works really well if you're like in an area where you can capture a lot of detail, like capturing something big in good sunlight. 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, again with the 5x optical zoom. It was 10x and now it's 5. 10 megapixel telephoto 3x, and then 12 megapixel ultra wide, shoots in 8K 30 still, and then we also have 12 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. And the image quality pretty much to me looks pretty similar to the S23 Ultra. It doesn't really look that much different at all. So with that being said, it's still going to take fantastic shots. And like I said, the biggest change with the cameras is honestly the 5x, going, that used to be 10x, right? But honestly, it looks exactly like the S23 Ultra photos. It's very hard to tell the difference. As far as the battery situation goes here, there's nothing that has changed with the battery situation. It's still a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 45 watt charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging. You can possibly get better battery life. I'm going to test it for myself. But we should have better battery life hopefully with the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, depending on how efficient it is. But I've been seeing pretty good things about the battery life, so I think that's really exciting. But besides that, it's a pretty solid phone. Like I said, I wouldn't like upgrade from like the S23 Ultra over this. And honestly, it's going to be a tough sale for people with older flagships. It really depends. And we'll get into those comparisons soon. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next